journey, which is a dreadful and suffering journey. And today we are going to discuss and understand the core concepts of the main pillars of Dhamma, and try to expand our wisdom and the way we look at this world. So for that, we know that these are all causes and effects. So when causes got aligned or causes got synchronized, got together, we can see effects. So this is an effect where we are having a Dhamma discussion. So there must have been various causes for this to occur. So that must have been all the meritorious deeds we must have done during our past lives and during this life as well. So may all these meritorious power may agglomerate together to create the environment that we need to develop wisdom, develop the light of wisdom, and understand the reality of the world to ultimately attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So all the meritorious power which we have generated together may agglomerate together, letting everyone or making everyone's minds more suitable for the understanding of Supreme Dhamma. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And think about all the bad and unethical things we must have done, because we did not know about the Supreme Dhamma. So we thought that this world is valuable, and we went after those meaningless things. In the process, we must have hurt a lot of beings, must have killed, must have taken other people's things without their approval, and must have had unethical relationships, must have lied, must have slandered and used harsh words and meaningless words, and have had miserly thoughts and malicious thoughts and other distorted views about the world and morals, which distort the morals of the society. So due to these actions of us, many must have suffered. So let us remind all of them, especially Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, which which were subjected to our injustice. Let us remind all of them, and let us see the wrongdoings as wrongdoings, and let us determine that we are not going to do them again. And by that, we are actually taking a step forward to make our lives better, and we are saying that we are not going to do that again. And with that determination in your mind, accept this with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So for today's discussion, I thought that it is better if we stick on to the basics and try to understand anicca, dukkha, anatta, and the how we are going to practice this Ariya Dhamma in our day-to-day lives. And that is what is very important, because before resurfacing of this Dhamma by our Abhay Ratanalankara Thero, most of Buddhism was about learning. Actually, monks also did the same thing. They had various kinds of institutes, local institutes, which were there for many centuries, because for many centuries the Dhamma was hidden. So they actually came up with this idea that learning must be the way, or by hearting everything and knowing everything must be the way for the enlightenment. But It is not. Because we had a very short discussion today with Mrs. Kim as well. So in that discussion also, she also brought up that the story about Portila Thero. So that's a very important story to learn. So Portila Thero, we know in the Pali canon it says about it states about us, or it shows about the story of this monk called Portila. So he is a veteran about or a very elite educator, or a person who is a scholar about this Ariya Dhamma. He knew everything, for not only in this ministry of Buddha, but for last 3 ministries of Buddha, from Kakusanda Buddha and Konagamana Buddha and Kashyapa Buddha. In this era also, he took that role of a teacher and started teaching others, because he had all the knowledge about Dhamma. And many actually got succeeded as well. They became enlightened. But because they were Sotapanna, the other pupils of his had seen what is right and what is wrong, or had seen or had gone through the process of enlightenment. That means the understanding part, what is needed to be done. So at the Sotapanna Pala, that is what happens. You understand what needs to be done and what to do to accomplish this task. So after that, when you meet Portila Thero, he has all the knowledge to give you, and those monks could actually attain Nibbana very soon because of his teachings. But he didn't know how to attain Nibbana. He haven't reached even Sotapanna. He haven't attained Sotapanna. So once, because of his career and because of his achievements, one day he went to Supreme Buddha and said about his achievements, and said that I have been doing this for 4 ministries of Buddha, and still I can remember everything. I have all the knowledge that is needed. Supreme Buddha didn't say anything. And after some time, Portila Thero started to go, that means stood up and started going back. And at that point, he said, empty Portila. So empty means, so he became shocked why Supreme Buddha called him empty. So he again elaborated on that as that you did not do what is needed. You are just doing, you are just trying to stick onto your superiority complex or ego, but you are helping others, but you are empty because you have not done your part. So this shocked him. And after that, he thought, yes, I haven't understood anything, though I have all the knowledge in the world. So I should change that. So he went to his pupils. Actually, most of the monks in the area or the vicinity were his pupils at some point. So they did not like to teach him because they did not wanted him to worship them. So they refused. So he couldn't find a teacher, and he had to go all around the place to find a teacher. And in a rural village, he found a very small, very young Samanera of age at about 7 to 8 years old, Samanera. And he is actually a Arihat. So he is also a very reputed teacher who shows the way to all new monks how to attain Nibbana. So he went to him and asked, "Can you show me the way?" Since an Arihat can see the minds of others, some of them, of course, can see. He saw this person's or the monk's past, and he asked that if you stick onto what I am saying without question, then I would take you as my pupil. Then Dhammadassi Thero said, "Yes, I will do anything you say, and I would second, or I would not hesitate to even give my life to do what you say." That was his determination at that point. So he said, "Okay, now wear your robe properly," and he showed a very muddy area and asked the Dhammadassi Thero to go in and walk into that puddle of mud. So it was a very big one. It was like a what do you call a marshy land. So that this monk is now moving towards the mud, and now his mud level is at about his knees, and it rises up to his waist, and it starts to rise more and more towards his chest. And the small Samanera is not saying anything. So he thought, so be it. I don't care whether I die or not. I am just following what he said. He went up to his nose. Now, if he go further, he would just die. At that point, the small Samanera said, or the Ariya Thero said, "Stop and turn back and come back again." And he came back, and then he was asked to wash or clean himself, and then the story says that he became Arihat after following his orders or his teachings. So it doesn't say about the Dhamma hidden inside the Dhammadassi Thero story. So actually in this Dhamma or Ariya Dhamma, most of the time Supreme Buddha and as well as all his disciples has used similes, and they always compare things because it is very easy to understand when you get an example and tell a story to make you understand. So in Ariya Dhamma, it is mud is compared to sensual pleasures. So when someone is stuck in mud up to his nose, or when ordinary people, lay people are full of gratification, full of cravings towards sensual pleasures, they cannot just get out of the mud in one go. So that's what was the problem. That was the problem of Dhammadassi Thero. He was preaching everyone to become Arihat straight away without mentioning the ascending path, which you have to follow step by step, which you have to go on gradually. You have to develop gradually. Otherwise, you are not able to comprehend. Okay, you are not able to cultivate your wisdom. So what happened with Portla Thero is he knew that mud is compared with sensual pleasures. And he knew that he is not someone who has even understood the real truth. So he is a lay person, though he is wearing a robe. So he knew he is covered up to his nose. And he understood his fault when he was going or coming back from the mud. To come back from that puddle of mud, what someone needs to do is they have to put their foot again to mud, not to the ground. But because that person does not belong a foot that can be put to the ground, because he is in the middle of a muddy swamp. So what he did was, what he understood was, I have to go ascend in a gradual manner. So he kept his foot into the mud where the mud is low, and the level of mud came down from his nose to his neck. And again he did the same thing, and the mud level is going down up until to the point where he is out of the mud, but he is covered with mud. Now what needs to be done is, now he needs to clean himself, and now that's the end. He's got rid of all the mud, or he has reached Arihathood. If you compare the two examples, two example and the real story. So the point that we have to understand in this story is, even if you have all the knowledge in the world, it is not about the knowledge itself. It is about the practical use of it, and it is about the understanding. So when you try to understand what is needed, or what is the core concepts of Buddhism, it is solely based on getting rid of your sufferings. So that is what Maha Bodhisattva searched for, and that is what he achieved and became Buddha, and that is what he taught all his disciples as well. So then that is what we also need to understand from Dhamma. So all our try, or all our everyday struggle is to get rid of all the problems, sufferings we have in our day-to-day lives. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to apply Supreme Dhamma in place where we used ordinary methods to get rid of suffering. So we are replacing avidya with wisdom. So we thought that we are finding solutions for our problems, but they were not real solutions because they were temporary, and actually they have worsened the problem. So we are replacing those methods which we used to get rid of our problems with Ariya Dhamma, where the solution is for eternity. We don't have to worry about it anymore after you give that solution. So what we need to understand is, what is avidya? That is the most important question. avidya can be divided into four parts. Again, this is again avidya, but in four different terms. It is expanded to four aspects. Now, what are they? Nicca, Sukha, Atta, Subha. Nicca means you are able to control things according to your will, according to your expectation. So if that's true, then the word disappointment could not exist in this word. If a word called disappointment is there, then word is something that you cannot. Even ordinary people know that it sometimes you get disappointed and sometimes you cannot expect. Or sometimes you cannot expect the things to happen the way you expected. But the thing is, in Ariya Dhamma it says there's no categorization there. Or as some things can be, some things can be controlled according to your expectation and some things cannot. That is lay people's view. But Arya's understand is everything, all the things are not according to your expectation. It cannot be controlled according to your expectation. It can be controlled when the causes align, it get controlled, but not according to your expectation. So when you do not know that is nature. So what you do is you try to control, having expectations about it. So nature, then automatically when something is nature, when something can be controlled according to your will and according to your expectation, then that becomes sukha. Sukha means that becomes blissful because it is controllable according to your wish. Then it becomes atha, then it becomes something meaningful. And it becomes subha. It becomes something to consider good. Something that is valuable. So these are four terms that we can use again to describe the single word avidya. So think about when you give value to something. Now the example is when we this is the theory part. These are the words, this is the mechanism of it. This is how it is explained in the text, but what we understand, what is needed for the understanding are examples. Let's take an example. So let's take two people where one is fond of watching TV, fond of listening to music, fond of having delicious food, fond of alcohol. So these are the four things that he is fond of. He's very attached to these things. He has a craving towards these things. Other person does not have such craving. Other than these four differences, there are all the other things are similar between the two. The salary is similar, the job is similar, the social status is similar, the family background is similar, everything is similar. Other than this cravings in one person and no cravings in the other. So think about what happens to the two people. First one, where the one with the cravings. How does one develop these kinds of cravings? Because he took it with ignorance or avidya or nitya sukha atta subha. So he thought that this is, first of all, that it is meaningful. Watching TV is meaningful and it is blissful. Why? The hidden truth behind it is because he thought it can be manipulated according to his will. But the world is not something like that. It cannot be controlled according to your will. It has its own way of working. It is called Paticcasamuppada, cause and effect theory. The simple understanding of cause and effect theory is when all the causes get aligned, the effect is seen. Just like when all the causes get aligned, you can turn on a bulb and the bulb will light up. When all the causes, or if even one cause just did not get aligned, then the result would not occur. That is how the world works. We know that. But your will, your expectation is not one of the causes that manipulate the system, that decides what the outcome is. That's the problem. But you think, when you have ignorance, you think that, no, I can control it. You know that your TV or your television can be controlled, but you cannot control the television of the person next door. That's why you are attached to your television and not to the other person's television. That's why you think that your television is blissful and other person's television is just a television for you. That's why you find it meaningful, your television meaningful, and the other television is not just a television. So that's why when something happens to that television, because you cannot control its destiny, when it is stolen, when it is destroyed in some way, when it is not working, when there's a power cut, that suffering element, which was hidden all along, pops up. Until that point, there's this fear you have. What if there's a power cut? I won't be able to see this. I won't be able to be blissful. I won't be able to watch this blissful television series. What if there's a power cut? What if this TV did not work? In the middle of the television show, it seems like the TV is having trouble. Then you become upset and you become fearful. What if I could not finish watching this? So that's how fear and sorrow and suffering starts to crawl into our lives. So that's what you need to understand. So when you, so now we are comparing the two people as well. So one is fond of watching TV. The other one is not. So think about, when the other one is not fond of watching TV, it does not have the vexation of watching TV. Let's compare, let's compare these cravings to a rash. So the person who has the craving has 4 rashes. Other person does not have any rash. So when you have rash, you need to rub it, or you need to scratch it so that you feel good. Otherwise, there's very very upsetting or very bad experience that you feel. So you need to do something about it, and what you do is you scratch, and scratching feels good. For the person who does not have this kind of a rash, do not enjoy scratching, and he do not feel any blissful sensation through scratching. So you have to have a rash or a vexation initially to find outside things blissful. So the problem is, this is just one suffering you have to go through. There's more. So think about, since the person is fond of watching TV, now he has an extra vexation than the other person. So what he has to do is, he has to find time to scratch or to treat this vexation. So he needs to, both of them has only 24 hours for a day. So the other person is calm and relaxed and have plenty of time, and he is very independent and he is very relaxed because he does not have that much of vexation in his life. But the person with this kind of cravings has this vexation, and a person or an individual cannot stay with vexation. So what he or she does is, they have to allocate a time period for that as well. So for listening music, there's a vexation. That person needs to allocate time period to treat that vexation as well. For food also, and for alcohol as well. So now he is very busy because his time is now divided to treat vexation. Vexation is suffering. Now it's like a person who has a disease. Now when you don't have a disease, you have plenty of time because you don't have to go through medical checkups. You don't have to go through procedures and everything. Likewise, since you are ill in your mind, now your mind needs to be treated, and it takes time and it takes energy. Not only that, a TV does not come to your house on its own, or a gadget that plays music, or a bottle of alcohol, or delicious food. So the second person might have a decent salary where he even have some extra money to save. But the person with these cravings does not have that luxury. He would have to spend for his TV, for his cable, or the electricity bill, and other television bills, and other devices which plays music, for alcohol, for nice and good food. Because other person did not care what he eats, he just wanted to eat something to get rid of his hunger. But the first person has all these vexations. Because of that, his time is compromised, and because of that, his money is compromised. Now he has to work more than the second person. He has to work extra hours. He has to spend or do some extra jobs, part-time jobs. Now, if that's the case, now that person is not in a state where he is very relaxed or very calm. Now he is busy and his life is utterly complicated. So the thing is, now working is also very suffering. It's not, you do not work you do not do your job very happily most of the time. You feel the tiring nature of it. You find it a very stressing thing. What if you are provided with money and everything you wanted, you can do anything you want, any hobby you want, or any you can learn anything you want. You can treat all the vexations at that time, all the vexations that was created out of avidya. You can do that. If you can skip working, and you can do that, and you might think that it would be good, and it would be less suffering, because the working part is always suffering. So when that is the case, now you see the difference between the two people, only because of 4 cravings, only because of 4 attachments, only because you thought that these 4 can make your lives better: good food, alcohol, music, and television. But what it has done to your life is quite the opposite. Now the other person is very calm and quiet, but the world sees his life as something miserable, because the world does not know how to enjoy, or how to enjoy, or how to feel the blissful nature of Nibbana, letting go, getting rid of attachments, seeing the reality of the world, seeing how uncontrollable or how expectations and hope can lead to problems. This was seen, then the world would not blame the second person, because world is full of lay people. Then that's what we can. That's normal to hear. So now that does not stop there. This suffering does not stop at this point. So even after working hard and compromising all your free time, being a busy and hectic person, even after that, it does not stop. At the moment you watched TV, you might feel, now I feel good. At the moment you finished having a whole bottle of alcohol, maybe, or a plate full of your delicious food, or listening to music, after that you feel satisfied. But the thing is, the satisfaction is temporary. The moment it got balanced, now there was a vexation, and it's actually like a vacuum. So vacuum gets filled when you treat the vexation up until neutral point or 0. When it reaches 0, what happens next? From the moment it reached 0, it starts to go back to negative. Think about when you had your meal, maybe your dinner. When you had your dinner, just after that point of finishing it, the next second is a cause for hunger, and the the next second adds up to it. Likewise, minute is created, and 60 minutes gather up to create an hour of hunger, and 2 hours of hunger, 3 hours of hunger, and 5, 6, 7 hours of hunger, and you would be hungry, and you would feel the hunger, and you would feel the burning sensation in your tummy. So that's how it is. However much you try to treat this with however much effort, it starts to go back to its original position, which is vexation, from the moment it was balanced. From second to second, it is going back to its original form. So what you did to treat your vexation is not meaningful. You just have to do the same thing again and again on the next day and day after the next day as well. And for the whole sansara, this would be your story. So now you see that what has happened to the modern world. Ancient people did not have that much of vexations. They did not want to go in social media and play videos or put your statuses or whatever it is. They did not want to listen to music. They did not want to watch television dramas. They were not fond of these kinds of fancy things. So they had less, what you call, rashes. They had few rashes. They also had rashes, but they were few. So because of that, they were not that busy. They were not that tired. They were not suffering as much as the people that live in this era. That's why the happiness index has gone down over the time, because what we are thinking that gives happiness is actually the opposite of what gives happiness. So that's what you need to understand. It's not what you think that gives happiness. So that's what Supreme Buddha understood at the sacred Botry. So when you understand this, you would want to get rid of these vexations. So I am very addicted to watching TV. I'm very addicted to listening to music. I'm very addicted to this and that and everything. Because of that, these addictions control me. Not that I am controlling my mind and my body, but these vexations are controlling me, and that's exactly what's happening. And that's exactly what Supreme Buddha understood. You cannot, you think that there are someone called you that can control everything. Actually, the name you is something given to a collection, accumulation. Just like you name the table. How did you name the table in front of you? Maybe you don't have a table in front of you right now. Imagine you have a table in front of you. So you named it table. What if the 4 legs were taken apart and the resting plate on the 4 tables, or the plane of wood which was resting on the 4 tables, which also kept apart or taken apart? Now you cannot call it a table anymore. You might call it wood, because now still you can see wood, but it's not a table. But you did not take the table. Let's take a bicycle. It would be easier. So you break the bicycle into pieces, and you see whether there's a part called bicycle. So you take this, what you call the tires out, and the wheels out, and the cogwheels out, and the chain out, and the frame out, brake pedals and everything. You keep them aside. You dismantle the bicycle. But you cannot find a piece called the bicycle. Even if you dismantle it to the smallest nut, then again, you assemble it from those parts. You keep the handle, you keep the frame, you keep the two wheels in place, in the right places, and you put the chain and the cogwheels in the right places, and you put everything back. But you did not put a thing called bicycle. But you can see the bicycle after you assemble it. And you could not see the bicycle when you disassemble it. So that's how it is. So just like that, when we divide our body into parts, we can see eyes, we can see skin, we can see our heart, we can see lungs, we can see everything, and we cannot see. It says that we can, in Buddhist literature, we divide it into 32 parts. Maybe you can divide into 100 parts. That doesn't matter. Even if you are very good in anatomy, you can divide it to more than 1,000 parts. But you cannot find a part called I or me. So actually, it is something that happens, or it is something, it is a delusional construct because of our ignorance, that there's a part called I in myself that has the control over this. The most important part is that the name or the idea of myself comes with the ability of controlling. So I'll give you an example. So think about, there's a person in front of you. Imagine that there's a person in front of you. When you are thinking of raising your hand, the person in front of you raises the hand. This is very deep, and try to understand carefully. So when you are trying to see, the person in front of you is seeing the image of yourself from his eyes, his or her eyes. So when you want to hear something, you hear from the ears of that person in front of you. When you want to speak, the mouth of the person in front of you moves. So think carefully and rationally and find the answer for this question. Would you call myself to your body or that body? If that's the case, if that's what is happening, if the control has gone over to that body, then you would call that piece of meat or piece of flesh you. So it's all about myself, the concept of myself, or the concept of Atma is actually about the ability to control according to your will. A will is or the hope is a construct of avidya. And you think that you can control. You are able to control. But what you to control according to your will. When the causes get aligned, it get controlled. And the ability of since this is a machine, we have the ability to align causes, and sometimes when all the causes get aligned, the effect is seen. Just like when we are lifting our hand, many systems need to work in collaboration. Nervous system, I think we have discussed this. Nervous system, musculoskeletal system, and everything should work in collaboration for our arm to raise, for our arm to lift up. Even if your will expectation is, even if you think, I don't want my hand to raise up. Even if you think, I want my hand to raise up, the raising of the hand is a result of all the causes. So if there's a nerve damage, if there's a skeletal damage or whatever, however much your expectation is to lift your hand up, you won't be able to. And it goes vice versa as well. So you can see that your expectation, but most of the time you can lift your hand. And your expectation was also to lift your hand. So you get tricked. You get this delusional idea that it can be controlled, because most of the time they synchronize, they falls on one another, or they have, the results are matching what you expected and what came out of the system. Then you get tricked. That's what happens. So that's how you thought that now you thought that your body is controllable and your mind is controllable, and your outside is also controllable to some extent. The things that can be controlled were taken as mine. That's why this body was taken as mine. If you remember the example we just explained, it was the other person you thought. Now think that I would simplify that example some more. So if the person in front of you was raising the hand and he was seeing, and you are seeing from his eyes, hearing from his ears, and talking from his mouth, initially, if you remember your face, then you would be very surprised and very, very, very startled. What has happened? Why am I seeing myself with my eyes, just like in a mirror? But what if someone hits you with a bat and you got unconscious and you forgot all the history, all the things about yourself, your past? Now you don't remember anything about yourself, and you just woke up and opened your eyes. Now you are seeing from your eyes, you are hearing from your ears, and you are in your body. Even if you see yourself in front of you, the old you won't be able to recognize, and you would think that this is another person. So that's what happens during this samsara. You die and you become another person, and you don't remember that you were somebody else. And this, since the control goes from one body to another, it's, you know, that it's actually a process of causes and effects. When you know the story of the flame, oil lamp. So how it generates when one flame dies, how the causes creates another flame. Just like that, when one body dies here, since there are other causes that creates all the karmic energy and everything that gives rise to another body, and the controlling part is also there in that body as well, you think that this is me. At that body, or inside that body, you think, actually the controlling part in that body, you would think that is myself. So other than that, it's just a mechanism that works, just like a clock full of cogwheels. This is also a machinery. And this machinery exactly works. It works in a very synchronized pattern, and we always get tricked because most of the time your hope or your expectation or your will is met, but it is not because not because of your will. It is because all the causes got aligned. So now when that's the case, you thought that this is your body, and you thought the things, the television that can be controlled by yourself, just like your body, is your television. That's why you don't call the other person's television your television. So that's why you call your spouse your husband or wife. That's why you call your child, not the other person's child. And you don't call other person's child yours. And this is actually a mental construct. What if you adopted a kid? Then it becomes yours, just like buying a TV. That is how you met your husband or wife as well. It was a mental construct. It was just a person who was living in this world. And you decided to make that person yours, just like you decided to make your body yours. Now that's how it works. And think about the burden now you have to face because you thought that it is your body and it is your television. Because of that, you don't want something that is not valuable. That is the important part to know. Because it gives nice television shows, dramas and everything. That's why you got attached to your television. You got attached to your body because it shows nice images, you can hear nice sounds, you can eat nice things and feel nice warmth or feel nice touch and everything. That's why you are attached. So actually, when you think about it, it is because of initial vexation that you find these things as nice and find these things blissful. And because you got trapped in that mirage or in that trick or in that delusion, then what happens is you are in possession of these things. You try to obtain or have the ownership of these things. When you have become an owner, then you have to protect, because these things can get stolen, can get destroyed, they always get decayed and end up in destruction. Chara marana happens. So you have got the ownership of something that gives a suffering sensation. It's like owning a bomb. Now you own a bomb. Not just one bomb. The amount of cravings determine the number of bombs you have. And these bombs are very dangerous and so because of that, you are very scared. You are very, you have a very, you are in fear that something would go wrong and this would blast. What if the television is dead? Or what if anything happens to it? What if it was stolen? What if your bottle of alcohol was stolen, or your plate of delicious food was stolen, taken away from you while you have the highest craving to have that, to get the blissful sensation? So that's the problem. So think about how much burden you have gathered because of going after the wrong things for blissful sensation. So you just have to think reverse. Now, what you need to understand is this cannot be controlled according to your will. Now, that's the most important part. When you even understand this part, when you are trying to practice Dhamma, now let us move back to the practicing of Dhamma. So now we know that everything is a combination of three dukkha or sufferings: vexation or dukkha, working or the burden of working towards blissful sensation, which is sankhara dukkha, and the decay and or the decay and death or jara marana of the blissful state, which takes us back to the vexation, which is, so we have to part with the we have to get separated from the comfortable blissful sensation, which is also suffering, and that is viparinama dukkha. So these are three dukkhas that we have to face when we think that this world is blissful and good. Other than that, there's another thing. Now if we are attached to images, these are images that, as we said, these are images that get decayed and ultimately end up in jara marana. These are images that can be stolen, anything can happen to them, which you do not like. If it was a painting, it can decay. It can be stolen. It can, someone can damage it. So likewise, because of these things, you are in fear that something can happen. So that's why what you do is you try to treat your fear. So you put it in a safe, you insure it, you put guards or security guards to protect it, because you have to get rid of the fear that you have in your mind. So for that also you have to work extra to earn and to get rid of fear. For a person who do not have that kind of fear, has no problem. So that's what you need to understand, and that's only the outside part. The eye is the two eyes. You have two eyes that you use to see this image, and that is more important than the image itself, because you just need these two eyes to see whatever the image you like. Not only this image, all the images. That's why eyes are more important than the images. But eyes get old as well, get diseases, cataract and everything, and it can it can be painful at some times. It can give rise to all the vexatious feelings, and at the end it would die along with your body. You won't be able to maintain the authority or the ownership of what you thought good, even your images or your eyes. So that is actually not a happy ending. This not only for the eyes, it happens for all the other six, all the other five as well, or the five senses. This is the story. So now when you practice Dhamma, what you do is you think in this manner. You know how you thought before when you have avidya. and you reverse it. You think in total opposite way. So let us see how you can do that. Now we are going to practically how to practice Dhamma. So what most of the time what you do is you try, and you try in a wrong way. You have to try in the right way. So I'll tell you this example where there's a water current. In the ocean, you see there are currents, and these are very fast moving water streams inside the ocean. If you get caught in a water current, you would be taken into the deep ocean, and you would be, anyway, you'd get killed. And there's a way to there's a way to escape from these water currents. And it is not by directly swimming towards the current. If you swim directly towards the current, since the current is so powerful, you'd get exhausted and you would die. If you do not do anything about it, you would anyway die. You would be dragged into the ocean. What you do is you swim perpendicularly to the current. Then the current is just like a road. It has a surface area or a what do you call it? It's like a tunnel. If you escape the tunnel, then you are back into the normal ocean, away from the current. What you do is when you swim perpendicularly, you are gradually moving away from that tunnel, and you would escape from the tunnel. Water tunnel, imaginary water tunnel that where the water flows in very high speeds. So when that is done, then you would be able to swim back to the shore. So just like that, it is not about trying for the sake of trying. It is not about not trying. It is about trying in the correct technique. But if you do not try, then all the defilements you have, raga, dvesha, moha, and still they will be there, and you will still you will be roaming in the samsara, and that does not do anything. It's just like dying in the ocean. What if you try to control? The thing is, it says in anicca, what it says, that you cannot control according to your will, and your will is to attain Nibbana. But the thing is, you cannot control your mind or your body or anything according to your will. What are you trying to do when you are trying to control your mind according to your will, according to the will of attaining Nibbana? That is the wrong trying that you are doing. So you are trying to swim against the water current, and that is exhausting, and that would not give results. And what you need to do is you have to know the correct technique, and that is what we are going to see. So since you have not asked any practical questions about this Dhamma, mainly about your lives, I'll ask a question and I'll answer it myself and show you that these are the types of questions that you need to have in order when you are practicing Dhamma. So a question would be like this: I develop a mind of dvesha, or I get angry all the time. When let's say when someone is blaming me, or when someone is telling that I am not competent, that I am not good at this thing and that thing, then I get angry. What should I do to get rid of this? The initial, the normal way of dealing with it is by trying to be patient. So someone says bad things about you, someone spread rumors about you, and they do everything that is bad. And as a good person, as a normal person, who does not have the understanding of Ariya Dhamma, what you would do is you would be a patient person. You would be always try to absorb it, and you would not try to say anything. And that is not the our way of doing it. So what you would do is you would bottle your anger. You would be angry at that person, and you would not say anything. You would just bottle up the anger, and you would not say anything. Again, that person would do something bad to you, and again you would bottle up that anger, and you would not say anything. And this bottle always has a capacity, and when that capacity is exceeded, then you would start to blow up, and you might even hurt that person. You would start screaming. You would tell all the bad things he or she must have done throughout this period of time, and you would be furious about it, and you would even use your physical force to attack that person when it is over your limit. Because you now someone might say that you are trying to practice Ariya Dhamma because you are trying to get rid of dvesha there, or anger. You are trying to get rid of all the anger you have in your system. But it was not our way of doing it. It was just the ordinary way of doing it. What is the Ariya way of doing it? Now that needs wisdom. So if someone scolds you and you get angry, think about it. They are just words. They cannot hurt you physically. Even if that's a physical harm, there's a way of dealing with it in Ariya practice. So when someone is scolding you, someone is spreading rumors about you and telling that you are incompetent and all, you have to go back to where you got attached, where you thought that this world is Nicca Sukhatta, that this world is according to your control and according to your expectation, and you can live a peaceful and good life in this world. That is avidya. And with that avidya, you decided that you can live the way you want. So with that decision, you thought that it is better. You are attached to being praised. So you wanted others to praise you. You did things so that others could praise you. And you had that expectation of others praising you, others telling good things about you, telling that how nice person you are. So that is what you had initially. When that is the initial thing, now this is a cause and effect theory. When you have created all the causes, just like all the causes that needs to for a bulb to light up is there, you just have to turn the switch on. When the switch is on, everything works in place or gets synchronized, and the bulb is now lighted up. Just like that, you have created all the causes for you to get upset, become angry, because now you have an expectation of your own. So if something goes on with your expectation, that means something is if someone says that you are good You are nice. You are a nice person, and you have done everything competently, and you are the best person in this job. Then you would feel very happy, because that was your expectation, and that was your vexation as well. You wanted others to tell you that you are nice, and that happened, and you feel very happy, and you attached. You get attached with that person, and if that person asks a favor, you would straight away do that. You would not hesitate to help that person, because that person is someone who gives blissful feelings to you with his or her words. But they were not blissful. It was you that made them blissful, these words. So after some time, what if the same person started blaming you? Not like words coming from a stranger. When someone close to you, someone dearest to you starts saying bad things about you, spreading bad things about you, think about your best friend saying bad things and trying to betray you, then that would be harm, that would cause more harm than a normal stranger. Because when you get attached, you have a specific expectation. That's why you got attached, because of avidya, thinking that you are able to control, and you have the control, and you have the you can control according to your will, your expectation. But that did not happen. Then comes the opposite of happiness. The amount of happiness you received when that person said good things about you, the same amount, same and opposite amount of suffering would be caused when that person go against you. So what happens? And then when you see from a Arya point of view, you get scared of being happy in that way, because you are prone to get you are prone for suffering. Just have you don't have any control over it. What if it goes wrong? Then you would be in the suffering position. So that's the thing. So if you are trying to get rid of that anger and disappointment and everything you faced in this question, what you need to do is you need to go back to the original problem where you got attached, and you have to know that attachment is the reason for suffering. And now you have created the reason of suffering, and you can get the suffering can occur in any moment, since you have created the reason, which is attachment. And when all the other causes get aligned, then the bulb will light up, or suffering will occur. So when you go back, when you think reverse, in a reverse manner, so you are in a position of suffering, then attachment must be the cause. And you know that it is the cause, not must be, it is the cause. So you find where you got attached. So I wanted people to praise me. I wanted people to say good things about me. That is where I got attached. That is when that was challenged. That's how I got this suffering feeling. So I have to get rid of the cause of suffering, which is attachment, which is the thinking or the mindset of good praises. mindset that you wanted good praising words. So you have to think that attachment, where you got attached. When if you got attached to something, you have to find the reason for attachment. The reason for attachment is avidya, or ignorance, thinking that is nitya sukha atta subha. Now you know what you have to do. Now you pinpointed the position where you have to put anicca dukkha anatta. Now you have to put anicca dukkha anatta there. When anicca dukkha anatta is applied to the point where you need to put it, then anicca dukkha anatta state is something like it is not according to your will, it is suffering, and it is meaningless and pointless. It is pointless and it is essenceless. So you would not get attached to something like that if that's the viewpoint of yours. If you change the viewpoint of yours, it gets changed because it's something comes from your wisdom. Wisdom always defeats avidya. When you get that mindset of wisdom, you don't have to do anything else to get rid of suffering. That happens through a series of cause and effect. Series of cause and effects. So you create wisdom, then the attachment, there's no reason for attachment. Attachment would not occur. Then attachment is the reason for suffering. So as the attachment is not occurring, suffering would not occur. When someone scolds you, when someone says bad things, mean things, and spread rumors about you, since you did not care what praises you wanted, or what types of good things that you wanted to hear, you do not care whether that person blames you or not. I was not expecting anything from anyone, even good things or the bad things. So since I know this world is a place of anicca dukkha anatta, and I cannot control what people say about anybody, including myself, I am okay with what everybody, what anyone says. So that would be the way to get rid of the suffering. So this is always about getting rid of suffering. So now you know that when someone scolds you and you get angry, how to get rid of it. You have to go back to the point where avidya is, and you have to get rid of the avidya, and you just have to see it as anicca dukkha anatta, and you don't have to do anything else to get rid of avidya. So what we always do is, when we get a craving, or let's say we are let's say someone is attached to having delicious food, whatever the food item. So what you do when you're practicing Ariya practice, what you do is you are just trying to avoid the food. Avoiding is a part, there's a part in avoiding as well, but you would not do anything else than that. When you see it, you would try to fight with that mindset with gratification. So there's a mindset of gratification that occurs in your mind when you see that item or food item, and you would start to fight. In your head, you become two people. One is trying to eat that, the other one, the Ariya person, would try to fight back. And that is not the correct way of dealing with it. That is just trying to dealing with the causes, effects, results. You cannot change the results. What you can do is you can get rid of the causes so that results does not emanate. Results does not occur. So that's how to do it. So when you are, say someone asks another question, so these are the questions you should ask actually. So I am attached to this. I am attached to buying clothes. I am very addicted to buying clothes. what should I do about it? I cannot stop it. I know that it is wrong, and when when that kind of a thought comes to my mind, what I do is I try to fight with that thought, and it is very tiring to do that. It is not easy to do that, and most of the time I fail, and I go back to that addiction. So that would be the question, and the answer would be like, so if that's the question, so then again you have to try to find out where you get attached. In this case, it's straightforward. You are attached to clothes. So you have to know that you have to think in, there are different patterns of seeing this. You have to ultimately see it as anicca dukkha anatta. So the value given to the clothes, if the value which is given to these clothes items is reduced, then the mindset that occurs, or the vexatious mindset, also it would reduce. If the attachment is reduced, if the value is reduced, then as a result of that, attachment would reduce. If the attachment is reduced, as a result of that, the vexatious nature of the mind would reduce, and that's reduced suffering. When the vexatious mindset is reduced, the amount of work you have to do to get rid of that vexation would reduce. So all the three dukkha sufferings would reduce actually when the attachment is reduced. So when the workforce or the work that is needed to do to get rid of that vexation is reduced, anyway that would get to jara marana, and you would have to get separated from the cloth you liked, and that would be suffering. Since the attachment was less, when eventually you had to part with the cloth, the suffering would be less, because you are not that much attached to that item. So to get all the sufferings out of your system, you have to get rid of the cause of suffering, which is attachment, and you have to find the cause for attachment, which is avidya. And in this question, the reason for avidya, think about it. Not all the people like same clothes. You had avidya when you were born. Otherwise, you would not have born. But it was the main simple structure of avidya, where you think that outside things are blissful. That's why, as a child, as an infant, you are always looking outwards and having the concentration towards listening and looking for any touch or anything that you can receive from the five senses. You have turned your antennas, all the antennas out to receive anything you get, because you are looking for something good. But that's the basic software you had, the avidya, the basic avidya. But with the lay people's influence, we call them asatpurusa. Satpurusa means Ariya people. So opposite of Ariya people, where the people who are the people that think the world is Nicca Sukata Subha. And these people are all around us. And what they do is they say different things about different items. So when this is the, so it's about, we can say that it's the society as well. So what the society does is, this is the style of clothes that should be worn at this era, at this age, and these are the colors that are beautiful. These are social norms that are created by people of avidya. And since we also have avidya, we update our avidya into a different version. It happens. It's a cause and effect theory. When this when this influence from the lay people occurs, our original avidya, this is like a chemical reaction where the reactants react up to give up the products. So what happens is, initially there was initial avidya, and the initial shape of avidya, it was changed with the influence of others to a form where you like, or where you give value to these kinds of what do you call cloth items. Now, since you have found something valuable, and if the problem with avidya is, if something is valuable, then you have to have it into yourself. That's the idea of avidya. That's how vexation starts to occur. So a mindset, a vexatious mindset for nice clothes, the clothes that you found nice, would occur. So that kind of a mindset where this is vexatious. Initially, there was no vexation in your mind. Now see, now you are asking for a rash that you can scratch so you can feel good. What if there was no rash? Then that would be better. And that is the way of seeing at Nibbana. That's how you see Nibbana. What if this was gone? Then I would be so good. Then I would be in peace. But avidya works in the opposite direction, where it gives value, and value is like, when you give value, the mindset that occurs just after that is something like a rash, something vexatious. Now you have to go through the process that we explained before. Now you have to think in this way. You just don't try to fight with the mindset which comes as a result of avidya. You just attack avidya. Attacking avidya is, you are just not directly attacking avidya, you are just trying to remember, trying to create the wisdom that you all have already received. When you are creating that mindset up again in your mind, that avidya does not have a place, then that would fall apart just like a building without a foundation. That mindset, that result would be gone in a second, and you would not have to fight with your mindset now. That kind of a greedy mindset, it would be gone. Otherwise, what normal people, the people who are not enlightened but Buddhists, let's change the word enlightened, the people who reached to an understanding. The difference between the people who have reached an understanding and the people who have not, these are all Buddhists. The people who did not have this understanding would try to attack the result, or try to change the result in their head, but it's anicca. You cannot control according to your will. Your will is to get rid of this kind of a mindset, but you have to know what is anicca is. So if you are going against anicca, that is like going against the water current. It's not happening. That is exactly what the teaching is about. So you are at that point, you are going against the teaching. You are against the wisdom. You are just trying to attack avidya with avidya, not wisdom. So if you are trying to attack avidya with wisdom, you have to find the point where the avidya is and try to see the meaningless and essenceless nature of it, anicca nature of it, dukkha nature of the suffering, how much suffering I had to go through to achieve this kind of thing. Is it worth it? So it's actually a bargaining that happens in your mind full of wisdom. It's not something, it's not like, debating in your mind. It's actually wisdom. So other than giving that explanation, I cannot explain the wisdom furthermore. It's because it's out of, it cannot be explained with words. So this is the extent that we can go to give you the idea. So now when you understand that, now you know how to get rid of dvesha and how to get rid of raga. And along with that, if you know the correct way of getting rid of raga and dvesha, that is kayanupassana, vedananupassana, chittanupassana, dhammanupassana, and that is called satara satipatthana. Satara satipatthana means chattaro satipatthano in Pali. So there's 4 components, and all the components are to get rid of abhijja and domanassa. That means attachments and conflicts. Conflicts in the sense when the attachment, the things you attached get changed in a way that you don't like, you get the second mind where it is a conflicting mind, angry mind, disappointed mind, rage, malicious thoughts, and everything comes into play. So that's how this thing starts to occur. So what you need to understand is, for raga, you have to use the opposite. So raga is actually, it's like a house. Starting from the foundation, you build up. So raga is the end result. Your mind starts wandering here and there because you find this interesting and that interesting, and your mind starts to wander, prioritizing different areas. If you are vidya is, if you have a likeness or a attachment, a craving or a gratification towards clothes, when you see a cloth, your mind would prioritize it more than anything else, and you would forget all the important things, tasks that are planned on the day, and your mind would just start to wander in that direction and think about clothes and how can I buy that? That is a very beautiful one. I should buy that and everything. Likewise, we have hundreds and thousands of likenesses and attachments. So each time we see these things, we hear these things, we get the smell of it, we get the touch of it, we get the taste of it, our mind starts to wander in all the directions, just like a untamed horse. It would start wandering in all directions, using the 3 doors that's open up to the world, that opens us up to the world. What are they? Thoughts, words, and actions. So using these 3 doors, we would wander around, and that is raga. And raga is a result. So you are not trying to get rid of raga, which is the result. You have to find the cause. And if you get rid of causes one by one, your mind would not have the element of raga, and you would reach ragakya, and that is Nibbana. Ragakyo Nibbana, Dveshakyo Nibbana, Mohakyo Nibbana. If you are devoid of raga, then that's the end of the story. So you have to know that, try this method in the right way. Otherwise, it actually does not reduce your burden, but increases it, because you are not trying it in the correct manner. So actually, each step in this Ariya pathway is blissful. See, if you are a person full of rashes all over your body and all you do is scratching from morning to night, and what if you found the cure to heal that and you started taking that medicine? Each day of taking the medicine is blissful, because you are getting cured. So that is how the Ariya practice is like. Each day of practice is blissful, is the amount of burden and suffering is getting reduced day by day. And that is what should happen. If that is not happening, you should ask and you should get clarified and you should try to understand what is the correct pathway. So until you figure out what is the correct pathway, you should stick on to finding what is the correct pathway. And knowledge is just to help you to go there. And do not prioritize knowledge over wisdom. Otherwise, you would not be able to develop wisdom, develop the the correct mindset or the correct comprehension, where you are able to get rid of raga and dvesha and more. So that would be the explanation for today. I think we have almost past 2 hours, reached 2 hours. So regarding today's discussion, you can ask anything. If you have any questions, you can ask. And we would initially, what is needed in the beginning is having the understanding of what we are dealing with. We have to understand what is ignorance so that we are not ignorant anymore. So that's the first thing we have to do. That is how the ascending path works. So that is how the Dhammadassi Thero also needed to reach. He had to go to the bottom of the staircase, which leads to Nibbana. So otherwise, if we try to learn about the middle steps of the staircase, it would be just facts in our mind, and we would not be able to process, or we would not be able to understand that, because we do not have any data, because we have not even reached there. So what we have to do is we have to go to the first step and start from the beginning, where we try to get rid of or eliminate avidya, or understand what the ignorance is. Understanding what the ignorance is of course is the path to Nibbana, because it is if you understand ignorance, then you are not ignorant anymore. That means you have achieved wisdom, and that is the beginning of the story.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that very detailed explanation. As you mentioned, we'll open the forum, even though we are close to 2 hours. Since we've started early, maybe the audience has some time to spend. So if you have questions, either you can send it on text or rather on the chat, or directly ask from the Thero. So we'll give you a little time to compose if you are putting it on the chat. Thero, since we have not received any questions, can I ask a question in relation to what you just mentioned? When you mentioned that, for example, where you are getting maybe scolded from someone and anger occurs. Let's take the case where you do not know the person. A random person is blackguarding you or saying something that's hurtful, let's say. In such an instance, when you are going to look back to the causes of why this, if you are feeling angry or if you are feeling sad or there is suffering occurring at that time, what I want to ask is the way to look at it. For example, let's say one is you look back and you start to realize that because you have created importance to yourself, that you are a valuable person or that you should receive praise, etc. That attachment is one way to, from what I'm understanding, one way to see why you are feeling hurt because a random person who is scolding you. Can you also look at it from the fact that because you have done things now, adding to that point, you have now looked at that, but adding to it that from a Paticcasamuppada or a Sansaric point of view, if you've done things to others, that is what is coming back to you. So you also understand that it is not in your control and what you have done is coming back to you. Can you explain a little bit of that second part, how you apply to that? Is that correct to apply, and in that application, how you look at it?
That is another way of seeing, and how another way that we can use to get rid of all the anger and all the disappointment we develop because of outside incidents that happen that are totally out of our control. Most of that is anicca, according to not totally out of our control, but out of our control according to our will. That means we cannot control them according to our will. That's the problem. So when we see images through our eyes, when we hear sounds through our ears, when we hear sound, when we smell, when we smell from our nose, when we taste from our tongue, and when we get this sense of touch from our body, all these, and when we receive thoughts to our mind, all these 6 instances are karmic. So it happens because of karmic energy. So you receive good and favorable and positive images because of your positive doings, your meritorious deeds, and you receive bad and negative inputs through your eyes and other 5 items, other 5 organs, because of your wrong and sinful doings. So at that level, at that layer, it's totally out of our control, So someone can meet a blade of a sword at his neck, and that is out of his control too. Or even if they had the will of not dying, that won't be the case for that day. So that's a good example that your will does not work, because your will is not to die, but since all the causes got aligned, you have no choice to die. So in that sense, if what we create in our mind using these 3 doors, the 3 doors that opens up to the external environment, which are thoughts, words, and actions. So through these 3 doors, we create energy or karmic energy with the facilitation of avidya. So we create energy, and these are punyabhisankara as well as apunyabhisankara. That means avidya can be the avidya that is giving good results, as well as there's avidya that gives out bad results. Good results are when you do good things out of avidya, alms givings, helping others. Even without Ariya Dhamma, you can do that. That's how we got a human life form. That's how deities are up in the up high up above us. That's how people who are rich and who are experiencing a pleasurable life according to normal and lay terms. If someone is experiencing a blissful life, that is because of their good doings, meritorious deeds, but because of avidya, they causes the sansaric journey to occur. They are happy, but the sansara goes on. If you want to get rid of avidya, then that is another story, that is extra, that supramundane, that is towards Nibbana. That is the elimination of the sansara. So, sansaric journey. So, so that then when you create karmic energy out of avidya, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it is deposited in the nama world, or it's a metaphysical world, not physical. It's how you, it's where our memories also gets deposited. So it's not physical, so it does not take up space. So in that space, though we call it a space, it's not a space, it's metaphysical. So in that we have to mention something, so we call it a place. So from that place, this energy comes back to ourselves, just like water moving back to the ocean. It takes up all the low areas. When you put water, when you pour water from a mountain, it would start to make its way in such a way it finds all the depressions. So the water would start to cover up the depressions and would start to find a way to go into the ocean. It would definitely go into the ocean if you put a sufficient amount of water. So just like that, when our life journey is going on towards infinity, towards sansara, there are depressions, there are what you call hills and depressions and everything in our life. So when these depressions occur, water would, or bad energy would start to fall and fill up those depressions, just like water is falling moving towards ocean. So at that point, all the mechanisms around us that are functioning out of avidya would start to utter bad things about you, because you have created that kind of energy in the past. And actually the person who is scolding you, who is hurting you, are the people who are the victims. Then now you would think, no, I am the victim, I am getting blamed. No, he's the victim, because he is the one who gets subjected, who pays for your wrongdoing. You are getting punished, but punisher, or the person who punishes you, is the person who is creating the bad energy, and that would be devastating for him throughout the sansara. So that's the problem. So he's the victim, my victim, because I created this bad energy. Now he is scolding at me and he is creating another one. The mindset, so it's like something like that. It's not everything is fixed so that he should anyway blame me because I have created this energy. This person is definitely blamed. No, not something like that. It's because of the person's avidya. So he would get the original mindset, or the thought, or the mind and the thought that process, that layer is karmic. So he get this thought in his mind that I should blame this person. But the blaming part is out of avidya, not karmic. It is done. If the level of avidya is reduced, then you would not blame. If it was a arihat or a person who has reached anagami state, that person would not even think of blaming. Still your karmic energy is there, but since it's not, since the person's choices or the person's actions are not karmic, but are dependent on avidya or wisdom, then that is not fixed. If it was karmic, then everything would be fixed, and we would not be able to do anything about it, and we would be stuck in samsara. So it's not something like that. But the initial part of this, when you create something bad, you scold someone, you scold a person, and you say some bad words, and you generate a bad energy, and at the point you have done the sankhara, or at the point you have created these actions, you have already done it, and you have nothing to do about it. It would just come back, or it would just process in that mechanism, and it would just reflect back to you from the easiest way that is possible. I think we have discussed about this story of the goat. So a lady killed a goat, and since it was a bad action, immoral action, the bad energy that was created at that point made the lady a goat, she-goat, and she had to die millions and billions of times. It says that she died, I think, thousands and millions of times. So after that, when the last death of that goat came, the person who was going nearby, he had avidya, he had all the depressions in his mind. He likes goat, or he likes mutton. He likes to eat this goat. So he sees this goat, and since he likes mutton, he gets this idea. Now the very good, the good environment for the sin to get created, or the bad energy to implement on the God. Now there's a good environment for that to happen. So the karmic energy can go back to the ocean, something like that. That can happen because the favorable environment is now occurring, so that now this person feels like, oh, this is a nice goat, I can kill this goat and have some mutton, or something like that. Then since the god also has the karmic energy to get killed, then that transaction started to occur, and the goat started crying and started smiling in 2 different occasions. And the person asked why. This goat has a the ability to see his past. So it's her past. So it says that I killed this much of, I killed a goat, and this is what happened to me. I had to die millions and billions of times, and now this is my last time, and that's why I smiled. That's why I laughed. And why are you crying? Now I know what happened to me, and this is going to happen to you as well. And I am actually partly responsible for it, because it was my doing that that makes you in this position. So the person wanted to show the God that her theory or her stories lie. So what he did was he tried to protect the goat from any harm. But one night at his house, when the goat was tied on a pole near the fence, there was a struck of lightning which created a sharp and it struck on a rock, and part of a rock just flew towards the goat, and it actually cut his throat, and the goat died. So if there was no depressions nearby, since when the water comes from the hill, it would just find the easiest way to go to the ocean. So since there was this easy way through the person, it tried to move that way, but since it was blocked, the nature took the opportunity of dealing with the balancing of karmic energy. It always gets balanced somehow. Whether you transfer merits to them and try to balance it either that way, or by nature itself balancing it, or a man or a woman or anybody or a sentient being try to balance it for the nature, before the nature, with his or her avidya. So that's how it works. So when that is the case, when someone scolds you, you know that this is something inevitable, something you have created. And you know that this person, when you have done something wrong, sincerely, if you are a sincere person, you know that I should get blamed for this kind of a thing. And you do not get upset actually at that person. You do not get angry, because yes, this person has every right to become angry. I have done something bad, and yes, you can blame on me. That kind of, some people have that kind of experiences where this person thinks that it is right for him to blame me because I have done something bad. So that same mindset would be there, even if it's a stranger, even if you have not seen the person. It was a long story. You don't even remember. But the transaction is happening right now. So why would you get upset? It was well deserved. So you listen, and you spread metta and kindness towards that person, because now he is doomed because of his actions, and you wish that for me and for all the sentient beings, Nibbana is the only salvation solution, salvation or solution. So that would be your metta, the opposite of anger, the opposite of hatred, the opposite of dvesha. Metta would be the solution for dvesha. So that would be another way of seeing it. So there are various ways of doing this vipassana meditation. This is a meditation. This is the meditation part where you try to use it. Using is meditation. Now, the usual practice of meditation used in other areas of other yogas and everything, this is very different from Ariya meditation, because that's why most of the people do not know about Ariya meditation. And even the normal the Buddhists that does not know about this reality of Dhamma are stuck with normal meditation, which is practiced mostly by yogis. So yogi meditation is something else, and Ariya meditation is totally different from that. That is a meditation where you are not trying to control your results or thoughts. Thoughts are results that are coming from causes. So you are when you are practicing meditation, You are not trying to, when there's raga, so your mind is wandering here and there like a wild horse. In yogi meditation, what you try is you are trying to take a rope, get a rope and, tame that wild horse. And that is very tiring. You can do it because eventually what happens is you are stopping images, you are stopping sounds and all the five all the sensual pleasures, and you go back, you go into a jungle and you start meditating, and you forget all the ragic or the what do you call it, ragic things that increase raga. So you since you do not see them, what happens is this everything gets it's like just when someone is not putting stones into a lake or a bucket of or a basin of water or a pool of water. When someone is not putting stones, it starts to the surface starts to calm down. So there are no waves on the surface, and it starts to still. It's after some time it's perfectly still, but it's only because no one is putting stones. As soon as they come out of the jungle and started to see these the images of raga, sounds of raga, hear these sounds of raga and everything, and then again the stones would start to come back onto the surface of water, and the surface would start to move, and the samadhi would be gone. But when it comes to Ariya Samadhi, it's something else. You are just treating the root cause. Since you are treating the root cause, whether you are in the jungle, whether you are in the city, whether regardless of the place, whether you are a layperson, whether you are a normal person, or whether you are a monk, there's no difference. You can practice this Dhamma and reach higher statuses without difficulty, not like in yogi meditation. But what has happened is now we have annexed this yogi meditation to normal Buddhist practice, and now it has become a part of it. And we are also, when we are thinking about meditating, we are always focused on this kind of a meditation. But a person who has done yogi meditation, since his mind is very clear, he would be able to understand this Dhamma very easily. That part is there. It's not that it is totally disadvantageous. It is advantageous in that manner. But even for a person who do not practice that much of extensive meditation, where you need to have sophisticated environments, fastidious environments, you do not have to have that kind of environment to even, you do not have, that is not essential. It is not essential to have that kind of a sophisticated, fastidious environment to practice this meditation. You can do it while you are doing your day-to-day activities. That's why it is very easy for a Arya to become enlightened when compared with this yogi meditation. But it's only if you can develop wisdom. Otherwise, it would be the hardest thing in the universe to do. It's only the wisdom that makes it easier, makes your life easier, and makes your journey easier. So you have to focus, when you are trying, you have to focus on the correct way of trying.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that explanation. It was very helpful. Thero, since we are sort of, so we've received a message saying thank you very much for the delivery of the Buddha Dhamma, and I'll keep that in mind, and sadhukara from others. So Thero, maybe I think we can wind up for the day since we've gone past 2 hours. Maybe we can invite the participants, if they have questions, they can maybe post it into the group and we can take it up next week. Maybe you can think along the lines of what Thero was mentioning, so that you can think of questions that will help you to understand the basics or the crux of Dhamma, which then can be applied and you can go in that journey. So maybe we can make that invitation for you all to reflect on today's discussion and maybe post some of those into the group, which we'll take up next week. Thero, with that, can we finish with a Anumodana, if that is okay?
Yeah. So during today's discussion, we focused on the core concepts of Dhamma and tried to understand and broaden our understanding about the reality of this world, ultimately with the ultimate goal of attaining Nibbana. So all the actions we did, all the thoughts we created, all the words we created and actions we created were towards this goal. So during this 2.5 hour session, all our effort was to attain Nibbana. So according to Supreme Buddha's teachings, it says that if we practice Dhamma, if we remind, if we try to understand, or if we try to recall the meaning of anicca, that would be the greatest meritorious deed that one can do. And it says that in the 10 meritorious deeds, we have done 2 of them today. One is listening to Dhamma and one is preaching Dhamma. So we have done many meritorious deeds that are immeasurable, of course, because that leads to the ending of samsara, which is infinite. So if something infinite is taken or stopped in the halfway, then that force is a immeasurable force. So that energy which we have created may help us to get rid of all the hindrances, disturbances, and problems that we face while we practice the Ariya pathway. And all the environment or the background that is needed for us to practice this Noble Eightfold Pathway may occur, and may all of us will be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana and accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And let us remind all our dead relatives and all the people that helped us during this samsaric journey, especially our teachers, parents, and people who gave us jobs, and people who created our workplaces, houses, and etc., and all the people who are around us, such as spouses, children, relations, neighbors, and all the people who helped us in every other way. And let us remind all the people who were hurted by us, all the people who got who got violated by us by these 10 immoral actions, killing, hurting, etc. And let us remind them as well with metta and kindness. And also let us remind all the people or all the sentient beings that has liabilities towards us, that has that needs meritorious deeds and seeks meritorious power from us. Let us remind all the sentient beings that made this session a successful one. Beings that were happy, truly pleased to listen to this Ariya Dhamma, and also deities of 6 realms of gods and Brahmas of 20 planes of Brahma. And let us remind all the sentient beings in the universe as well, and transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness, and may they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana with all the meritorious power that they receive, and may they get rid of all the dark and wrong thoughts, sinful thoughts, and may they develop meritorious, may they do 10 meritorious deeds, may they develop pleasant and delightful minds towards this Dhamma discussion, being able to be happy about these Dhamma discussions, being able to generate immeasurable amounts of merits through that happiness. And let us transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness, with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. After today's session, it is better if you could revisit and or hear the sermon again, and try to understand and try to fill up the gaps if you have any, and try to reflect this Dhamma in your lives, and try to have try to practice it in day-to-day life, so that your lives become better and your amount of suffering in this life get reduced, and you would experience the true power of Dhamma. So if you experience the true power of Dhamma, then that is the live proof that this works. Your wisdom might say that it works. Yeah, you can understand even without practicing it that this works, but when you get the ability, or when you get this experience of blissfulness through practice, then you would feel that, and that would be different than you think, and that would be very satisfying, and that would help you to understand that you are in the correct pathway. So with that message, we would end the session. I would be saying or reciting a blessing for you all. Abhivadana siddhissa niccang vaddhapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukham balang ayurarogya sampatti sabba sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti minati samicchatu.
Sadhu.
Bless you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Thero, for your Dhamma explanations. I think it was very helpful for me. I believe it would have been very helpful for all of us that are here. And also thank you very much for the audience, for your patience, and for taking the time to stay with us close to 2.5 hours and listen to the Dhamma. So as Thero reflected on it, we would ask you to reflect on this Dhamma, and shortly I will upload it to the usual Google Drive, so you can look at it and listen to it again. So with that, we thank everyone, and special thanks to Venerable Dhammadassi Thero for the discussion. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Theruvan saranai everyone.
Theruvan saranai.